I don't know how to start this. I have come very close to crying over social media multiple times today, and I'm just like, this is not what I signed up for. And so I'm recording this, not looking for sympathy, please no. I am recording this as documentation of how it feels to be on the precipice of really taking the plunge into trying to become a serious writer in the year 2026, in the age when we hear that AI is about to take over all arts and writing is about to become irrelevant and who even needs humans anymore. I am recording this as a writer who has quite explicitly placed herself at the intersection of writing. I want to be a writer of novels in a print format, and the world of social media, which is a crazy place to be, and a place that I question every day. And in all of this, and especially on this very emotional day in 2026, I have found myself thinking back to a day when I was 18. And this was the day when I said out loud, for the first time ever in my life, I want to be a writer. Me saying that I wanted to become a writer was actually quite a shift from everything that I'd been before, where up until that point, I had been the best and hardest working student that you could possibly imagine. I was absolutely obsessed with getting 100% on every assignment, not 98%, certainly not 95%, 100%. It was my absolute obsession to be the perfect student in high school and to be the best. Until towards the end of high school, I kind of started to wake up and see the light and see the error of my ways and see that all of this hard driving of myself had led to no pleasure and no happiness and really no outcome. It was all just in vain. And so it was there that I started to think maybe I want to live a life that is more in touch with emotions. Maybe I want to live a life that feels more fulfilling. And that was where I said, I want to be a writer, because I knew I enjoyed writing, because I knew that writing helped me tap into something that I didn't get to tap into when I was just studying hard and trying my best and being the best student and obsessing over every grade and crying if I didn't get 100% on an assignment. I didn't want to be that person anymore. I wanted to be a writer. In The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron describes the path of the blocked artist as often choosing activities that are art adjacent without actually requiring the artist to commit to being fully that thing. And so from the time when I declared aged 18 that I wanted to be a writer, my life path then started to follow the path of the blocked artist. I went off to college. I took a few creative writing classes, but I decided that I was a little bit too scared to actually go the full path of becoming a creative writing major. I was very concerned still with appearing to be a serious student, and it didn't help that I dated a few STEM major guys who made fun of the fact that I liked writing and the humanities, and I wanted to be taken seriously as well as to be a writer. So I decided to drop the creative writing a little bit and just to pursue other things. And so I ended up going in a more social sciences direction. I went in a social sciences direction all the way to the PhD. And the thing about the PhD was exactly what Julia Cameron described, was it put me in a place that was kind of adjacent to what I wanted to do, because indeed a PhD requires you to do a lot of writing. It just simply was not creative writing. And then post-studies, I went into nonprofits, again, doing very writing-adjacent activities, doing grant writing, doing communications, doing research reporting, and it was all fine, but I still found myself extremely frustrated. And I found myself still wanting to be what I said I wanted to be when I was 18, which was a writer. Not a grant writer, not a writer of organizational newsletters or blog posts or social media posts. I wanted to be a novelist, an essayist. I wanted to tap into whatever it is inside of me and to put it onto page in a way that seems artful and that other people can relate to. And so as I was in those nonprofits, the frustration built and built and built. And I kept asking myself, why am I spending all of this energy on writing in other people's language and other people's words when I should be writing in my own language and my own words. And then it culminated with me deciding in about 2024, well, maybe more like 2023, that I was going to just do it, that I was going to write a novel. But now, remember that me as the novelist is still the success-driven high schooler who we met earlier in this story. And this success-driven high schooler did not just want to write a novel. She wanted to write a successful novel. She wanted to write a novel that would get into the culture. She wanted to write a novel that other people would read. She wouldn't be contented with just writing a novel. That's good in itself, but it's not enough. It has to be more. And so as I set out on this process to write a novel, I also was thinking, okay, how do I safeguard against my novel dying before it reaches any readers? How do I safeguard against being one of those many novelists who just has like a novel sitting in a drawer somewhere in their office and they think about it from time to time, but it never goes into the world? And, I did a bit of research into, how to get a novel published, I watched a lot of TikTok posts from people who were in the process of publishing books or who had published books, and I internalized their advice, and I came to the conclusion that, well, what seems to be the one thing I can do to secure my chances at getting first a literary agent and then a book deal would be to post online. I made a YouTube account and I made a Substack account and I started posting regularly. It did start off fun. It did start off feeling like a fun act of documentation of life. I began with a very strict weekly posting schedule. And then when I became functionally unemployed, I switched over for a little while to a daily posting schedule, which was honestly one of the worst things I've ever done. Hated it, cannot recommend it. All I thought about was videos. And I had no time to do anything writing, which was the whole reason I created these accounts in the first place. But no, I was just trying to build my following. And that perfect student impulse from when I was in high school was reawakened, because truly, this experience of posting online has reinforced all of those worst tendencies that I've had throughout my life, all of my worst perfectionism and self-doubt and, light self-loathing when I don't do well enough. And it has also reawakened this resentment at trying really hard at something, but not getting the outcome that I want. And it maybe is a valuable lesson in the way life is, that life isn't fair, that sometimes you do try and sometimes it doesn't work out. But, right now, honestly, the stakes feel really high. And, it does feel like a not life or death, but a situation where it's either I figure this out, I crack this code, or I am condemned to never putting out that creative work into the world that I so want to put out there. And I could quit. I know that. I know that I could quit at any time. I know that these platforms don't benefit us. I know about the enshittification theory and the way it posits that platforms, like all the social media platforms we have become so beholden to do basically anything creative in life, that these platforms don't do us any good, that there was a small window in which they maybe did do people good, but that window has closed, and now they are just extracting from us. They're extracting our attention, they're extracting our data, they're profiting off us wildly while we see none of the profits for the most part. Most of us see none of the profits. And it feels deeply unfair that this is what now, though all of the arbiters of what gets put out into the world of art are demanding of us. It does seem unfair that I have to come on here and try to sell my soul to the algorithm gods in the hope that I'll get to publish my book. Okay, it's a few days later and I'm fine. Thank you for asking. It was an emotional day. I don't know. It's fine. It's the normal ebb and flow of human emotion. I don't really know what got into me, but like I did cry before I made that last segment of video. And I did also cry after, not like directly after, but like several hours later in the evening. I cried for quite a long time. And ebb and flow, ebb and flow. But anyway, I think like what occurred to me, and I thought like maybe this would be a nice bookend for the ideas that I'm putting forth, is just like, I'm talking once again, as I like often do, and as I often write about kind of this tension between creating art and being on the internet, and how it's not always the most natural experience to be creating something that is very emotional and very personal, and that you kind of have an idea should be analog, and then also feeling this simultaneous pressure to advertise it via these social media digital channels that we now have access to. And I should also say that, like, by the way, before anyone is like, well, like, you shouldn't create for the internet, it's stupid to create for the internet. I feel like I need to like also kind of explain that I do have strictly non-internet projects. I never post my fiction online. Like I have like a real boundary around that with myself for some reason. And it's not like a strategic boundary at all. It's like completely a personal, emotional boundary. So like I do have a place where I can go where I'm not getting like feedback from the internet masses or whatever. No offense to the internet masses. Sometimes your feedback is very nice. But sometimes I just need something that isn't going to be like subject to that level of online scrutiny. You know what I mean? So I do have that. And then I also obviously have my digital engagements, as I am doing right now. But I think as I was thinking about this connection between technology and art and creating on social media, I started thinking about all of these moves I'm seeing towards like, we should all quit social media, people like documenting their experiences of getting offline or giving up all their tech or getting a dumb phone and then also like hilariously posting to social media. And like, this is no hate to the people who do those like videos and stuff. Like, I think they're interesting. Like I do watch and read if they write an essay about it with great interest, but I just think there's an obvious irony about like quitting social media and then posting to social media about quitting social media. I'm not the first to make this observation anyway, but also then I'm seeing like a lot of kind of culture writers like commentating on the idea that being offline is going to be the new status symbol, that the richest among us are keeping their children off the internet because they know the harms of it. And I think there are definite harms. Obviously, if someone feels that the internet is bad for their mental health, they should get offline. Probably I have people thinking, is the call coming from inside the house? Like, would this not be valuable for me? And like, to that I say no, because I still can see the value in producing stuff for the online audience, and in also like taking in ideas that I receive through the internet and indeed through the algorithm. Basically, what I'm getting at here is that there is a lot of value that can be gained through being online. I have gained a lot of like valuable information and insight. I have also found music that I like that I never would have found if not through the internet. I find writers that I like and respect, and I found movies to watch, and like there's all kinds of stuff that you can find online that you wouldn't find if you're only confined to what you are receiving through your immediate in-person community. So I think like the internet does still have some value for me anyway in that area. And like, that's kind of why I don't want to get off it. And I hope that maybe like through the writing I do for the internet, and maybe if I start like improving the quality of these videos, like through the videos I make, like maybe someone will also feel that like they've gained some value through something that I am putting out into the world. Like, I can only hope. um, but like, I don't know if that's gonna happen. But anyway, I feel, though, that what I want more than anything is to achieve sort of an online offline balance more than I want to like just be completely offline, but also I don't want to be completely online. Like, I want to have like time that I spend online, time that I spend offline. I want to have projects that I do online and projects that I do offline. And I think like that maybe is like what I would hope for just like the future of society. And then like as to the platforms we use, the social media platforms that are largely, run by billionaires and that harvest our data and sell us things we don't need. Like, as to those, like, I think I am still staying on these platforms because I don't see a great alternative. And like, I do want to have at least a chance at my work being put forth to people. And like, at the moment, I don't see any better way than to put that work on these sometimes terrible, questionably ethical platforms. I hope, though, that in the future we would perhaps move to something that is maybe a little more owned by the people who use it. That could be quite interesting in the future. And, to see platforms that perhaps don't require the same pace of creation that I think has really been my downfall. Like, I think that a lot of the frustrations I've been feeling like over the past year and that I have expressed in the past several videos I've made have been like these frustrations fundamentally of pace. Like in my last video, I talked a lot about how like I was like hating the video essay medium. And I realized like it isn't even so much that I don't like making video essays or I don't like making researched factual videos or I don't like conveying an opinion through the video medium. It's that I didn't feel that I had enough time to make something that was valuable to people. Like, I didn't feel that, if I'm producing a video like every 2 weeks or every week or whatever pace I'm going for at any given time, like, I didn't feel that it was like good enough. And then that, of course, like triggers my like perfectionist tendencies and I put more and more pressure on myself and things get worse and worse in the mental health area. And like, I, quit or I make a tearful video about how frustrated I feel with the online world. But like, I would hope that maybe in the future we see more of like an understanding of the creative pace that a lot of people require and that like having a strict schedule of like every week or every day is not necessarily sustainable and it's not practical and it doesn't lead to like actual good content in a lot of cases. So, that's kind of my 2 cents on what I want to see for the future. I don't know if it will come to pass, but might as well put it out into the world because like, isn't that like the principle of manifestation? I don't know. Like, I don't really like believe that much in manifestation. Like, I do believe that it is like a tool that only works for the rich who would probably get what they want anyway. But, I'll still speak what I want into the world. Put it out there. I'll put it out there. But anyway, so this is just like a little wrap up to like assure you that, hey, I'm actually fine. I'm fine. I know that's not very convincing, is it? No, but I actually am. And like, I just hope that the next several weeks to months, see me finding balance in my life. And I hope that society finds more balance in all areas, but, in terms of what I talked about in this video, in its relationship to the internet. So that's that. That's a